Hi, thanks for joining me today. We are going to be making Greek pizzadillas. So this is essentially a pizza quesadilla. It's really nice and easy to make, kid-friendly. We're just going to chop all of our veggies nice and small. So the reason that we're going to chop them nice and small is that if you don't like vegetables, or if you have some veggie adverse little ones, the smaller we cut them, the more friendly they are, more palatable they are, and they might not even notice them. So today we're going to be doing green pepper and red onion, and then some mozza cheese and some feta, so real Greek style. But this recipe is so flexible. You could basically just sub out any of your favorite pizza ingredients. It's really great to have this prepped and ready to go in the fridge. So if you keep your veggies in the fridge diced, and then anybody can just pull out the veggies at any time and pop a quesadilla on the stove. You can also microwave them to cook them. And you could also put them in the oven as well if that's easier. So it's very, very flexible recipe. I like to throw pineapple in mine because I'm one of those weirdos that loves pineapple on their pizza, on any kind of pizza. My favorite pizza though is Greek pizza. No olives, add pineapple. So yummy. I'm gonna be making the pizza today with dairy-free cheese. So I'm using Violife. And I learned a really great trick for how to melt vegan cheese the other day. And it'll be in the recipe notes. So you take a cup of cheese, or however, whatever volume of cheese you want, and put it in a little saucepan on the stove with a little bit of dairy-free milk, and just heat it up, kind of stirring constantly until it all melts together. And then pour it or spoon it onto your quesadilla, fold it, and fry it. It works perfectly. So great. Because sometimes dairy-free cheese can take a long time to melt. And by the time it's melted, your quesadilla is burnt. So that's a great way to kind of get in front of that and have the cheese melted ahead of time. So I'm just gonna cut a little quarter off of my onion. Another tip for red onion, sometimes I find red onion really sharp and strong flavored. So what I do is, often if I'm making a Greek salad or something like this, I'll soak the red onion in water. So I cut it just into slices, these half moon slices, and then I soak it in water just while I'm prepping everything else. Sometimes it's an hour, sometimes it's half an hour, sometimes it's 20 minutes. But I find that takes some of the sharpness out of the red onion. So I find pizza is a great way to sneak in veggies. And today we are going to dice up some spinach and include that as well. Spinach is nice and neutral flavored. And also you can get a lot of spinach in a small quantity because it does cook down so small. So I'm gonna just chop the spinach roughly, kind of into shreds, and make sure that goes in as well. So because spinach is so neutral tasting, I like to try to sneak it into as many things as I can, just because it's so good for you. It's full of iron. And we need to get in our green leafy vegetables. So important for good health. So it marries perfectly with cheese, just disappears underneath all of that yummy gooey cheese. Okay, so I've got my quesadilla. I'm gonna take half of the cheese and put it on the bottom of my quesadilla. Gonna take some spinach and then my green pepper. Just load up all the toppings that you want. It's super fun for everybody if you put the toppings in bowls and just place it out on your table or in your kitchen and then everybody can kind of gather around and make their own personal pizzadilla. Okay, and then we're gonna put a little more cheese on top to make sure that it sticks on both sides. If you really like things saucy, you can take some of your marinara or pizza sauce and put it on before you put the cheese on. But I love to dip into the marinara sauce afterwards. Okay, so we fold that in half and we're gonna carefully bring that over to our frying pan. So I've got my quesadilla in the pan at a medium heat. Just kind of keep pressing it down. Sometimes to help the cheese melt, it's good to put a lid over top of your pan and you can turn your heat down low, especially if it's starting to brown too soon before your cheese is melty. So as I mentioned before, this is also very easy to cook in a microwave, and you can cook it in the oven as well. So if you're gonna cook it in the oven, I would recommend putting it on a cookie sheet, and you're gonna leave the quesadilla open, so you're not gonna fold it over. So you leave it open, put all your toppings and your cheese on the one side. I would bake it at 425, and then just keep an eye on it, and as soon as your cheese looks melty, you're gonna flip that top back over and take it out of the oven and it'll be done. So that's nice and easy as well. So I'm just gonna check this and see how brown we are on the bottom. It's perfect. So we're gonna carefully take our spatula underneath and flip it over. And I like to press it down again just to make sure that that cheese is melting. Okay, so our quesadilla is done and my cheese is super melty. Sometimes it's a good idea to let it sit for a minute after it's come off of the pan, just to let the cheese set a little bit, but I'm very impatient. So I'm just gonna cut it into thirds and then take our pizza sauce or our marinara, whichever one, and then take a big dip. So good. So easy. I hope you enjoy.